You could be sincere, work hard, stack the cash, have an inordinate amount of status symbols, and still be invisible to most women. Key there is most women, because it will always have a small percentage of women that would love you because of some Mercedes or BMW, right? But I've seen good guys, sincere guys that work really hard, but no matter how much they level up, they still end up being ghosted by women. Why? Because working hard in the wrong direction doesn't get you freedom necessarily. It could also get you stuck. You don't just need hard work, you need a philosophy. And this is where we turn now to somebody you probably never heard about, Jacques Lacan. Lacan was a French psychoanalyst and philosopher that studied human desire, not from the surface of human desire, but from deep within the mind and what is the root cause of desire. He believed that what we chase in life, success, love, happiness, order, peace, is something called the symbolic order to us and is shaped in our life at some time by the things we consume. The symbolic order is different for every human. Well, it's supposed to be different for every human. It is built by what we consume, and it tells us what we need in our life in order for us to feel a level of completion and to feel like we're ready to take on life. Work hard, get ripped, under 10% body fat, buy a Rolex, buy a supercar, have a high-rise apartment, glass front, be jacked. If these are the things that are in your algorithm that you consume and the thing that constantly told to you, this will easily become your symbolic order of what you think you need to have all of in order to feel that you are now ready to take on life. And that is the twist, right? Lacan says that what we consider to be our symbolic order doesn't really come from us from birth. It's not something built into us. It's something put there by the other, meaning by culture, by people, by stuff we consume and things that go into our ears and into our eyes. These are the things that tell us what our symbolic order is supposed to be. That means society, culture, social media, the algorithm telling us what we should think and what we should want to make our own selves feel able to receive love, able to be lovable. So men keep chasing their script. They're bulking up, working hard, trying to status max, trying to become, to have all these status symbols in order to feel like they're ready and they're enough. Or conversely, men could think, well, that real hard to pursue all them things is like too much. So men could just decide to opt out because they think is too much stuff in the symbolic order that they need to have in order not to get rejected and not to get ghosted. But then sometimes some men actually go through with the symbolic order and succeed. They buy the car, they buy the Rolex, they get all the status symbols, they get the high-paying job, they get the house, the mortgage, and they're still not getting the success. They think they're still lonely, they still, think they need to get even more symbolic order stuff. Or they get a girl and have this gnawing, weird feeling in the back of their head that this girl don't really like them. She likes what they present and what they have and the mask they wear, and then she like the mask and she don't like you. And that could be a really hurtful feeling to finally get the mask to wear on and somebody like you for the mask. It might feel really empty and weird too. Especially when you're putting on the mask as a way to make yourself, that you're holding the mask there as a way to, as the only thing that you have. That you're flashing this as this is what I have, and then somebody like you, just for that, you kind of really never feeling complete. That is what in the concept of Lacanian desire calls the real, the weird voice of consciousness from deep within that speaks to you at like 2 a.m. in the morning and asks you, is this really it? What this person here, I wonder if I could open up, and if I didn't have these things, if she would want it, because, I see she watching some other guys that do have this too, and I wonder if she with me just for this, and I wonder if I'm going to get divorced and separated and half of these things taken from me. The real is the questions that lie over the symbolic order, that you question what is who is your real self other than the symbolic order, and if people like you for the real version of you. And this might be the reason that a lot of men rage quit and go into, the MGTOW movement, because they follow the symbolic order and they still have these things that they're supposed to have. And it failed them. And when they followed the symbolic order and the stuff failed you and you didn't get the things that they thought you deserved in as deep enough place, and you maybe still get rejected and you still get your heart broken, or emotionally, you felt emotionally manipulated or something like that, or played with. This is the things that might cause somebody to rage quit and say, you know, they're going their own way and they're not into this anymore. It will be very hard to accept to start to, you know, try again. And in times like this, for us men, is really important to realize that, you know, what if the problem isn't actually me as a person, as the real, but the problem was the game that I was following, that I thought I had to play or that I played? What if the problem was the symbolic order the script that I followed and that I went through, the hoops that I jumped through in order to feel adequate? What if that was the problem and it wasn't anything to do with me personally? And what if that is not me? That is just something that I went along with. And in an instance like this, the truth would be that more than anything, you need a new symbolic order. A symbolic order that is not based on these masks that we wear on and stuff like that, but a symbolic order that is more based on authenticity and being more real to yourself. And, you know, yourself is as big as the skills and the understanding, the philosophy, the techniques, and the tactics then of being a good, tactics is a bad word, but it is all up to the techniques and the skills that you have and you've grown in as part of your personality and your knowledge. And maybe the new symbolic order might be bettering yourself from within so that you can become more authentic within your own self instead of relying on crutches and other stuff that the symbolic material stuff then that the symbolic order told you is the stuff that should be enough to make our partners feel like this is all we are valued for. Because I think for quite a while in society that might have been the case, that men was solely valued for the ability to provide, but that was way before women had any rights, before any wave of feminism, before women were allowed before women had jobs, women were independent, before women were doing better than us men. So, like, thinking that material stuff and the symbol, those kind of material stuff and flexing hard with really high level status, high status objects, that only appealing to a certain type of woman that type of woman is really not the woman you want anyhow now. That is a woman that really burnt and jaded and just looking for men as a thing to take from. So that is that symbolic order to even go down that line and think that is where you need in a symbolic order. That might be something you want to scrap altogether and look at building a new, fresh symbolic order that might start from deeper within your true self. That is basically the foundation of the anti-hypergamy mindset book that I have, the 48 Laws of Anti-Hypergamy. It's not about rejecting women. It's about rejecting the whole mindset of hypergamy and thinking that that is the path that we should follow, because really and truly becoming a high value man and flexing and focusing on yourself and building your status and your value and stuff like that, that is only really serving capitalism, because that is just telling you to buy and use something that you buy and get money to buy, get lots of money to buy really expensive stuff to then feel good. And only when you have the expensive stuff, then you should feel good. But the 40 Laws of Anti-Hypergamy telling you that you don't need anything to feel good, because everything you have already in you, and it's just how much permission you allow to give yourself through these micro steps and through this inner game knowledge that we speak for in the first half of the book, and then the first third of the book, and then the rest of the book is really just various techniques to gradually get yourself in state during the day and become that person that you need to be, and that become in that zone you need to be in, so that when you go out there, you're not this dejected guy that women could sense have hurt and resentment around them and they're not attracted to. You want to be more at ease with yourself, and that is what anti-hypergamy is about. It's about not rejecting women, but rejecting the old symbolic order. So the new symbolic order is about, inner game clarity, having coming from a correct place, and then outer game charisma techniques, social charisma, body language tips, calibration tips, different routines and stacks that might help you as a crutch when you're now starting up. Last part about this is a part that in the old school pickup community was completely missing, and that was, having some level of morality with it, because a lot of time in the old RSD nation and the old seduction fast and stuff like that, men could take it too far when they get good in the game, and at that point when they're taking it too far and they're starting to use stuff that they know for like an evil or wrong purpose, they could be actually not just messing with women, but messing with their own self and their own growth then. So that is part of the book also, to know when to stop and know when it's time to, know how to pick somebody who's a good partner for you, so that you could grow to your maximum ability and be happy. And, if that don't work out, at least at this time, you actually have the skills that you could fall back on, and it's not the end of the world, and you don't have to enter the MGTOW community again and stuff like that. So if you have any questions regarding, or if you agree with anything I said, or if you disagree with everything I said, you can feel free to leave me a comment. I'm kind of making these videos based on comments. I'm reading all the comments and stuff like that. And if you want to check out more about the 40 Laws of Anti-Hypergamy, the link in my photography websites on the description. You can check out that too. And you can leave me a comment, like, share, and I'll see you in the next video.